We're here. This time at a table.
We're live.
And we're ready to, save the community center for our dance-off.
Yeah.
We are back with another Tales Unraveled.
We're back.
With our new logo shirts that we got.
Hey.
Very nice, comfortable fabric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they changed their supplier. These are
They're very nice.
either that or they're the lady shirts, because the lady shirts do have softer fabric anyway. But I like it. I'll buy lady shirts.
I really like this fabric.
So if you've ever had a problem with our previous merch, it's because of the fabric used. It might be a chance trying to get another chance.
I'll be honest, I've been one of those people. I really like this.
Me too.
I do like the other ones. They're durable. I'll have to see how this one lasts.
Yeah.
I do wear our shirts a lot. For anybody that watches our videos, you'll usually see me in one.
But it's comfortable, I can say that.
I felt it genuinely was like, oh, thank God. This feels wonderful to wear.
But yeah, episode 2. We've aired it and we've watched it again just now.
This
of
is
us.
basically our proof watch.
Yeah.
Yes, no, yeah, I have a couple things that drive me crazy when I catch oh, how did I not see it before?
Yeah, there's several notes in our group chat right now, just need to fix this.
Of me being gotta fix this before tomorrow.
Whereas when I'm watching the dailies, I'm like, that's good.
So yeah, you're watching the live stream. You got to see the magical teleportation between cuts that will be gone.
If you see the jump cuts, they're not supposed to be there. I thought I fixed them all. They're so long, guys.
That's fair. I understand.
So you cut. We ended up with about an hour and a half in the final cut, but the original length of recording was what, 3 hours?
Yeah, between 3 and 4 hours probably.
Yeah.
Furthermore, you brought this up at the beginning, but yes, it's very true. This was a month after our initial recording,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's basically like a real D&D campaign. It's why we don't do these weekly live. That's one of many reasons.
One of many reasons. The other one being I don't want to DM live. I'm too anxious for that.
Yeah, and one of the advantages I feel we have is that it's edited down, so you
Yeah.
cut out the fluff.
Well, yeah, and we've talked about this before, but my ADHD ass can't handle most actual play stuff. This is actual play. I can edit it in a way that I could watch.
Yeah.
So that's my big thing. But yeah, I mean, is there anything in particular we want to talk about this
So
episode?
I did do the question poll for our patrons and channel members. I did it a bit short notice. Sorry about that, but I did get a couple of questions. First one up is from our ever reliable mod Audio Dragon, asking, since you talked about some elves being born of human parents, being inspired by myths and legends, did most of the races in Bastion, the world you've made, follow that same concept?
No, specifically elves.
Okay.
I took the whole changeling mythos and applied that to elves, and elves are just fairy-esque humans, essentially.
The whole changeling aspect of them,
Yes,
sort of thing.
yeah, and yeah, just playing with the idea that no, for some reason, sometimes humans can be born with essentially fey aspects to them.
They're mutants.
People don't quite know why, and they're prejudiced about it, as humans.
Filthy
tend to be.
mutants.
And do those elves still expected to live a long time? I mean,
Yes.
we already saw in the series that...
we already saw Jack of Aces had lived quite a long time.
As far as Karna's aware, at least from what we've talked about, they're effectively immortal. They aren't necessarily unkillable, but they to him they're ageless.
To people's knowledge, they may as well be.
Yeah. They live so long that there aren't many reported instances of them dying.
Of natural causes?
Yeah.
No. Certainly not of old age.
Yeah.
And then we also have another question from Braid would like to play. Can you explain more about how the session zeros worked in relation to character creation? Did the characters decide on their backstories ahead of time, or was that all GMing from Stefan that you reacted to? And how much of your mechanical role had already been decided before the session zero was set in stone?
From my experience, when it came down to it, when I was coming up with Karna, I gave you basically the beats of my
You gave me by far the most fleshed out thing, to where it's hard for me to keep track of everything.
Yeah, that's kind of how I build characters. I just build from the ground up. I knew I wanted to play a bard, and I knew I wanted it somehow to involve kind of a forlorn lost love kind of situation, being sort of his character edge. But overall just being a very happy-go-lucky guy. So I gave you the beats and family history.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we sort of like and for you like we sort of worked towards a story you had already sort of laid out.
Yeah, but you presented it in a way where it's like, are we at this beat or is this different? And sometimes my roles changed it. I'm assuming from being one beat to being something completely different from time to time.
Yeah, like you convincing the initial bandits to
I might have met Delamere a lot sooner in my life.
Exactly.
Example.
Yeah,
so
that was
not to spoil it, but that one is available now.
Yes.
So if you are a patron, you can check it out and you can probably see it for yourself.
Yeah, and for Jesse Session Zero, he gave me very broad like beats of like what Maud's story would be, and we just sort of explored that like those in like a few little chunks.
Yeah, because I when I'm doing
People haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah. When I do D&D, I like to think about it as much as possible beforehand. But then once it starts, then
a lot of stuff goes out the window.
yeah, like it's changeable. It's but I kind of agonize over where I'm like, I want to make sure I'm not caught not knowing something. So I just like think about every single thing. And then once we started session 0, I was like, all right, no more planning. Now I just have to make decisions.
Yeah. And like the fun part about playing out a backstory is that you get to sort of experience it with your character. And I don't know if it helps it stick better in the head or not.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely does, because like with you and me, like you were very upfront about being like, you tell me what you want, and then if you want me to like think of other character names and other things that involved in your backstory, I'll do that for you. And I was like, yes, I don't care about the names of certain people. I'd like you to have a part, I want it to be a collaborative experience. So I wanted you to come up with other names and such.
And so I made them all Warrior Cat-esque names.
Yes, it's so fun. I can't wait for y'all to see our R2 session 0s.
And Martin's was a lot broader. You gave me only a tiny bit, and we just sort of extrapolated.
Yeah, it was a lot of broad strokes that we then kind of try and get into
it's like
detail.
a gradient, actually.
Yeah.
I was very meticulous with Karna's initial 130 years of life.
Yeah, it's like heavy, medium, light, like in terms of like information I was given ahead of time.
I think because like I started writing mine before I knew we were doing a session 0 really, so I'm like, yeah, this is just how I come up with characters.
But it worked in all cases, I think, and luckily we filmed it in an order that accommodated the level of detail.
And a session 0 was also like very valuable to me because I had a thought and it might have escaped me. Oh, it was that there's been a 0% success rate of me thinking of a character and then it is immediately what I think it's going to be. There's always a change within the first session, so I'm glad we did a session 0 where it was just one-on-one. The other people weren't in the room with us. So it was just like a nice chill improv game, basically.
We'll get to know you for your character.
Yeah, because if other people are in the room, it can change the vibe a little bit. Where now it's like,
where you start feeding off of a certain energy,
right,
and that affects the character.
Yeah,
but and then that's why part of why people say to do session 1s, like, is that helps people get to know their characters before they jump into session 1. Session zeros. That's why you do session 0s. Partially is that like people know their characters a bit better when they get into session 1.
Yeah.
And feel more confident in what they're playing, especially if you're not performing tabletop. I'm sure that's extra important.
Yeah. And for the people asking, will those session 0s go up on the channel at some point? Probably after the season is done, I'm guessing.
Right now they're exclusively for patrons and YouTube members.
So only Karna's is available right now to anybody.
But they will be available.
Yeah.
I think the plan is essentially to get into the session 0s as that person's backstory
becomes more relevant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Like it's paced out in a very specific way to be part of the experience for people who are patrons and YouTube members on
This is the intended watch order.
This is the definitive. Get on the Reddit.
That said, once we release the session 0s, I'll put them at the beginning of the playlist. So you can experience those ahead of time if you want.
I still think putting them where they are might actually work, because if somebody's going to go through initially, some of that is spoilers.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, maybe we'll release them individually because they are each.
Well, I mean, if you put them in a playlist, I think you could just seed them in the order that you wanted to release them in.
You just seed them custom in the playlist where they should go.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the release.
The true release order.
We'll talk about that later.
We are also planning on doing a talkback session where we do the session zeros. We stream them. We talked about that.
Yes. Once
I was like, thank God. I was like, we talked about this twice.
once we release them publicly.
Yeah. We'll do another talkback session. And
we'll air them on here the same way we have the episodes proper and then talk about them.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because we have a little break because I have surgery. So we're doing this for 5 weeks in a row. I have surgery, and then
we'll see.
We don't know when it's going to happen, but
but it'll happen.
Yeah. Maybe I'll be on pain meds and
just sitting there.
Sup? Yeah. I love D&D. I love my friends.
Well, William, the Jack of Aces.
Is there anything in particular in this specific episode you guys wanted to like touch on and talk about?
There was something that you mentioned earlier, because I remember when we were initially sitting here playing through, and you first put up a picture of the Abyss, and I'm looking at her like, okay, she has that kind of like dead-eyed look to her that I recognize from like Psycho characters in Hunter x Hunter. So I'm like, this person could be very friendly, or she is eating children. Like,
yes, I intentionally designed her with a little bit of uncanny valley. You don't quite know where she's gonna sit.
Yeah,
she ended up just being nice to you
because of the roles. Like you mentioned that she could have been very different.
Yes. If you
things had gone differently.
Yeah. But because, the roles turned out well, I was like, okay, you met a nice Abyss.
Now, because of that, she was always a nice Abyss. This is Schrodinger's Abyss.
Yes, yeah. Well, and again,
she's not who she is until you roll.
Yeah, well, and that's I try to keep it loose, because if you get too rigid, you lose opportunities for more natural stories. Just in general, I think that's true.
Yeah, so there was a potential scenario where the Abyss, the sister, and the brother might have just like, get off and die, mutant!
Absolutely. It could have gone very bad.
Yeah.
They could have ended in combat.
We avoided combat a few times.
We were talking about like there's a whole branch of the campaign where we just take over an orphanage.
Honestly, yes. I would have killed everyone for Violet.
Yeah, if she turned out to be like, a Madeline, like fucking, it's like, okay, nope, we're running an orphanage now. This is gonna be the next 20 years of Karna's life.
We were talking about how like I was getting sad describing Violet's experience, being like sort of an odd person out
among a social group.
Yeah, in the only place that's ever been her home. And we were talking about how we could see how genuinely upset Jesse is.
I was so
because his energy
sad.
changes drastically during that moment.
Yeah, Mom's just like, oh, out of curiosity, when do people get adopted here? Because are we gonna adopt a child?
Are we ready for this?
Are we ready for this?
Is this the right step to take at this point in our lives?
Sometimes a family is two dads and a
emotionally distant
less than a day ago.
Oh yeah, the Beatrice was in this episode. The
Beatrice. We avoided
fight
that
immediately ended.
The only one.
Those are my favorite types of combats. Like, just like, hold on, settle down. Why are we fighting?
Well, and I remember after one of the sessions, you were like saying that you appreciate that I let that happen, and I don't force a fight on you.
Yeah. Small spoilers. There's a whole intricate thing that he sets up later that I just de-escalate. Just, whoa!
Yeah, and like the things, I'll let that happen. Like if that's how the roles go, like I'm not gonna force a combat on people. Like even though I do put a lot of work into it, in the future I feel like I'm gonna try and like work out episodes to where if combat's gonna happen, it'll happen at the end of an episode, so I have time to prepare for us to actually do a combat session, so I don't have to get them ready ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers, but that's not even our funniest fight.
No.
It's not even close.
It gets,
We did get a question here asking about the pontificate. So the pontificate is the dominant faith among humans. Are there other ones coexisting, or is that spoilers?
There's other faiths, like more paganistic faiths out there. I think I touch on it a bit in this one. Like there's more paganistic faiths out there, and that's generally what it is. Though I also have thoughts about like witch covens being out there who worships particular gods and stuff. So like there's definitely other faiths out there. The pontificate's not very accepting of most of those faiths, especially if they have magic practiced within those faiths, but they do exist.
And then going off of that, since that's related to kind of like the general backstory of the region, someone was asking in the backstory, it was said the world was isolated to an archipelago, the formation of the Bastion archipelago.
Yeah.
Was that something that came up from your own? Just is there anything that inspired that?
The need to have a well fleshed out small area to explore without precluding the ability to have a larger area later. But keeping everything very small right now by necessity. That's really it. The thing is, like, when I went down that road, it became like a story. Because, I do something out of necessity. I'm like, okay, well, how would this affect this entire world?
Yeah, with that said, even the portion of the world that we are in right now still feels very dense.
I'm glad, because, that's the goal. Like, the goal is to make it all feel like it's a place. And I worried about my ability to do that if you could just go anywhere.
We're going to get on that boat, and we're going to go to that island.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, I have to establish 50 countries now.
It then becomes kind of like a Gulliver's Travels situation, I think, where it's like, okay, here's the stuff on this place. Yeah.
I enjoy the ability to make a place feel lived in and real, just in the fact that there's multiple cultures in one place. It's not a monoculture when you go to this country or that country, because that's one of those things that annoys me.
One of the
fantasy.
things that I will sometimes do that can sometimes annoy a DM is, like, when we get to a town, I'll be like, so what kind of an industry does this place have? Are they a logging people, a fishing people? What's up? What are these guys up to?
Well, I'm the right person to bring that up to, because even if I don't have an answer, I will.
Yeah.
I'll have one in that moment. I know enough.
Yes, and
Well, and I'm very comfortable with improv, so I'll improv it. I don't care, and if it doesn't make sense, it'll be funny.
that's what I love about it. Is like if
The
it
fact that we're
doesn't make
also a
sense,
comedy group means that we also, sometimes it could just be funny.
Yeah.
I try to make the world feel real, but if it's not, it's funny.
More of a technical question. This kind of goes back to episode 1, but someone was asking how much time it took to make that battle map in Blender.
Oh, that first one, took me a couple, like 4 to 5 hours. The next one took me like 2.
Just one of those things where you're getting used to the tool and how you set it up.
Well, and honestly, the biggest thing is just figuring out the right way to set up the tokens so that they always face the camera. And you can do it. It's not that hard, but I had to work out the best way to do it. And doing the first one's always the most difficult part, because that's how when you're setting up your template.
Right.
And then once the template's set up, much easier to just do
swap
the next
in,
one.
swap out,
and
different assets.
And I have Blender Kit, so I could just grab 3D models from a subscription service and just pop them in. So I don't have to do much work.
The polygonal chicken.
Yes, exactly. That's where it came from. And that's where the wagon came from.
Yeah.
I don't have time to custom make 3D props.
Well, fuck, why not?
spend more time on this.
Come on.
That's your issues. You haven't spent enough time on this.
It's on me.
Give us another full album.
That's another thing. Gonna have to work out at some point.
At some point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people complimenting on it.
Oh, awesome! I wasn't able to look at the chat this time. I was doing other stuff, but
I love the chicken track I was telling you while it was airing its box.
For some reason, it was important to me to have a chicken fight soundtrack.
It's really important
for that one fight and never heard again.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah, I mean,
spoilers.
We're not fighting more chickens. We don't go like Legend of Zelda, go hitting chickens and they all.
Hashtag Beatrice season 2.
Right? There's a lot.
Revenge.
Chekhov's cockatrice.
Chekhov's cock.
Check out this cock.
It was really problematic. You should have expected the lawsuit after when he whipped it out in the first act.
Trying to pitch this show to people. Listen, I told all my friends we should watch it because...
See that guy's dick in the first act? You know it's getting used later.
Yeah. It's coming back. I'm campaigning.
Is there anything you guys noticed this time that we can talk about that you didn't notice before?
I can't say because it's spoilers.
Yeah, that's the thing, non-spoiler.
There
are certain interactions that I was paying closer attention to with knowledge that I have of what comes later that I think was very interesting and a dynamic that I didn't quite pick up on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there's a line that I say in this episode that Maud says that comes back, and that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem is that we have the benefit of hindsight now, but that
Yeah, we can talk about that when it happens later.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we're gonna have an extra long I think episode 5 is gonna be longer than all the other episodes, and then the talkback is gonna be much longer because there's so much more to
now
talk
we can
about.
talk about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, buckle in.
Just a couple of compliments going through chat. Not a lot of questions I feel like we can hit on.
Well, thank you.
There was
I can't
one
see them, but thank you.
Vernon of Death was asking kind of just as this more of the substance of the series as a whole. Like, we have this storyline going on with our characters in Tales Unwritten. What might we do? Like, we have another arc plan that we're going to film soon. Is there anything we might feel like we put in between the airing of that arc and finishing this one? Kind of just brought up any chance of having like one-shot RPGs played or board games, and I feel like
There's potential.
yeah, we built kind of Tales Unwritten to be a kind of, not to hark too much on D20, but to have the idea that there'd be different stuff that kind of goes under that over label.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I think with everything we're planning on doing,
Yeah, I think I'd like to remain focused on one story at a time for now, but like.
And there are other things that we're working on that are also going to be kind of time and resource intensive.
Yeah, it's stuff that specifically requires my focus. Yeah. So I can't do too much.
Yeah, so at the very least between this arc and the next one we already have planned, no.
You'll get the episode zeros being released between then and then.
If it turns out we make more money than we think, maybe we can hire more people to help us out. But like until
Still
then,
looking for that hire a stunt Lanny to play Carno while we're doing the other things.
Well, like artists and stuff, because right now, if there's art, I gotta make
little animatics or something.
Yeah. There's always an opportunity for it because Tales Unwritten is a very broad title.
You know, I do have a question about what we've reviewed. This might also go into spoiler territory, but the fact that the Abbey was built kind of in that large statue, did we get any idea about like what that could have represented in the first place? Like, was it?
I think you guys get some idea about that in the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know my theories. Like,
there's stuff in the next episode that can lead you to conclusions about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did think about it, and it is in there.
It's all about Maud's panic attack.
The thing is, if you don't roll well, you don't get the lore, and that's just that's just as painful for me as it is for you. It's probably more painful for me.
Yeah.
but later it might come up and be important, so I don't want to say it now.
Keep your secrets.
North Countryman asking what, if any, was the inspiration for Billy? And
I just thought that it might be fun to give Maud a little friend that I could potentially kill to make sure that she was involved in the story.
Awesome.
Well, specifically with Jesse's character in session 1, I didn't know how to motivate his character into participating in the story because his was the most disconnected from what was going on. So, like, especially because your original thought for Maud was that she would be more of a loner. So I was like, okay, I'm building multiple fail-safes in order to make sure that Maud is interested in being in the story. So I'm going to give Jesse a cute animal to love, and if I need to motivate Maud, I will kill that animal.
If you don't follow the story, I will break Billy's neck in front of you.
And then Ren was also another
abusive.
Then Ren was also another thing where maybe Ren dies. But if Ren doesn't die, then Ren has a contract that he needs to get out. So like I built in a bunch of fail-safes to make sure that Maud was invested in the story.
Come with that!
Yeah.
Get over here!
Okay. Yeah, no, it was interesting.
I didn't have to work very hard with you. I knew you'd just go with
Oh
it.
yeah, no, Karna's ecstatic just to have stories. That's the character I told you I wanted to play. No, he's excited to experience life.
Yeah, and
He's that kind of toxic.
And I built in secret stuff for Martin where Martin's inherently on this journey.
Yeah, it's constantly with me creating characters for D&D. My main trouble that I find is I ask myself, what does this character want? And I can't answer most of the time, and I have to really think about it before session 0 or session 1.
I think you figured it out by episode 2 here.
Yeah, I kind of just wandered along, and I realized what she wants. But it was part of that, like, I gave you enough information on her, but not this basic thing of, like, what does she want in life? And I figured it out.
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of it's one of those things where like everybody who like I looked up so much like how to be a good DM advice, a lot. I absorbed it all and ignored so much of it. And one of those was, everyone knows that starting at a tavern is obvious and stereotypical, but it gets everybody on the same path and ready to go, because otherwise you have to find individual reasons for everybody. And I was like, yeah, well, I think it's more interesting if everybody has individual reasons and comes together through a twist of fate.
There are other ways to do it other than that tavern. Like the campaign I run, I just had them be conscripted into a local armed force because they needed to repel an invasion.
Video games have a lot of like stuff to pull from.
Oh, the village burned down and you're the only survivors!
You're all in prison for reasons that you all decide.
Yeah, well, I feel like you can be a lot more bespoke with how your character is how bringing a certain PC into the party with how few players you have. Like I usually,
like with 3 it's much easier.
Yeah, because I've done it for groups of 5 and 6, and I've done people like you're in prison or you have a job together, and then that kind of puts them together, and then they can grow together.
We're all baristas.
If there are 5 or 6 people, I'd probably say like, let's group some of you together to give you combined motivations. Like,
yeah,
who could hang out together?
Yeah, my whole thing is just like having the player characters be in the location where shit starts for a certain reason. A tavern makes sense. Travelers meet there. In my case, it was a town where the army needed to get conscripted. One of them was getting taken in because they were like being a highwayman. One of them just kind of recently moved there. One of them was an orphan that was brought up there.
Yeah, and like, I love bands of misfits who don't really belong together in a group, but end up there and then become a found family. That's always fun. It always works because it's great. So being able to actually achieve that in this context is very fun for me.
Yeah.
We did get a question and this goes back to when we were first making the characters and we were making the game, asking if there was some sort of World Anvil site or other wiki style site that the audience can look at to get more information about the world, because you made one for like at least us to reference. Not sure how much you want to make that publicly available.
Yeah, I do have a wiki, but yeah, it's for the players. It has a lot of information that's just for players to look at. I don't use World Anvil because they could be a sponsor.
You don't for your own reasons, but they might be amazing.
For my own personal thing, I wanted to make like a particular wiki thing, and I wanted it to be quick and easy, so I went to a different service to do it than World Anvil.
Which could be a fantastic service if they give us money.
If they paid us, it would be.
If they paid us,
service.
My opinions can be bought.
If World Anvil paid us, maybe I'd make a World Anvil page for our lore.
Yeah, our wiki is like the inspiration tokens. You don't get to look at it, I'm sorry.
Unless World Anvil decides maybe you should.
We want money so we can make more of this show. Hey, we're selling shirts, by the way.
Soon on
we really want to justify making as much as this is possible.
Might be there now. Check it out.
I'm not sure.
No, depending on when you watch this video.
Here, I'll give us something to talk about while I look that up. Someone asking, what is y'all's favorite class to play or have played in my D&D to at least limit the scope?
I haven't played a lot.
I have 2 that I really like going to. Flavor-wise, I'm a sucker for playing monk. I love describing my movements and how I attack, which fits very well with the I'm going to hit this guy 7 times in a turn kind of deal. Alternately, warlocks have so much baked in flavor to them, just like, what's your patron about? What's the, like, there's so much that you can build into their character based on where they're bringing their power from, what their relationship is with that entity. And not to mention, they are balls busted as a class.
I was gonna say like as someone who hasn't played a lot, I think people can tell based on the story that was in this episode. But I think warlocks have so much potential for interesting ways to explore the mechanics of being a warlock, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah. It's funny because I struggle to remember my class and race for like every character I play. I don't see race. I don't see class. I play people. I play characters. So I'm kind of just living in the moment. But if I had to like off the top of my head, I do enjoy like Dragonborn because they're just so interesting to me.
Just
so
dragon
much-
guys?
Yeah, just little
Just-
dragon guys, you know, just little
Dragon
furry
guys,
guys.
dragon
Yeah.
guys.
little buddies, you know, that look the way they do. I'm like, so many people must find you hot. How do I explore that? Am I full of myself? Like Tav in fucking Baldur's Gate. I was
Which is
an
going to be very
idiot.
confusing for you to say for Baldur's Gate fans who haven't seen our playthrough because
I did not
Tab
know
is the default name.
I did not know that we could change our name, and we
This is how you
started.
gotta
I
wait.
feel like we specifically brought up the default name as Tab. You
I
have to
feel like
change
you
that.
did also.
But you know what? It fit your character very well.
Yeah, it's
So-
just like I'm Tab.
So coming soon to Shark Robot.
Coming
Admire
soon.
them
Soon.
for now.
You can wear these.
You can't
This-
look at them.
This
We
video,
can look at
this
them.
video might, when this video's out, it might already be there. So.
So for me,
Should probably make it available then.
We will have a conversation about that. For me, I usually like classes that have an immediate hook into the world or the outside world in the story. Warlock, Cleric, Paladin could be, but 5e made their oath kind of independent. Bard, I guess I do like playing Bard the most if I look back on all the campaigns I've played.
I'm having
Only-
fun so far.
Yeah, no, well, I always
I want to get
because
some more of my interesting abilities, though.
I
They take a while.
I usually play someone that walks in and like, I own this place and you're all just living in it. So that's always fun for
Where's
just me.
my rent?
Yeah. But then Warlock and Cleric have either God or Patron that you can have a hook into and at least have immediate feedback on the world. The characters I remember the most fondly is a Bard Warlock pairing, Archfey, of course, who is kind of just the traveling minstrel that's always trying to see just a little bit of colorful havoc wherever they go. And I'm sure, if you go down to the weeds, it's a dime a dozen when you get the same class combo. But I like it. It's fun.
I was just imagining a bard cleric being like, "Our God is an awesome guy."
That's the Celestial Warlock. And when it comes to races, I usually go with human or half elf. I like Dragonborn. It's kind of that nice one I like throwing in there, a little bit of spice.
So the one that would make people accuse you of being straight.
Yeah.
For choosing.
I'm not too picky when it comes to D&D races. I've played most of them. I don't think I've played an elf or a half elf yet, just because I do
It's just hard to imagine being short.
yeah.
Must be nice.
The Devil May Cry lover in me does like the idea that ASMR do have the ability to essentially pull a devil trigger. So
I think if I were to pick a origin or ancestry from D&D, I think Tiefling is the most interesting to me because I like exploring the subversion of these guys who have horns and are red are fucking evil. I mean, no, they're just dudes. Why are you so mean to them? They're just dudes.
they just look like monster people.
Yeah, and it's rude to assume that they are. That's literally racist. But also any traditionally nasty guys and make them not nasty. I want to see them just being people.
Yeah, that's more interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I think when it comes to alignment, getting rid of the good and evil side of it.
Fuck that.
There's no. I mean, you can have people doing bad things for their own reasons, but the idea of pure good and pure evil, I think, just kind of doesn't work very well in a nuanced setting.
It rubs against my actual morality in a very strong way. Where it's it's never that simple. It's just not going to be that simple. I think are good and evil, but people being fundamentally that.
There is selfishness and compassion. Where does your morality stem from?
I don't like alignment is fun as a thing, a meme online, and that's about it for me. When it comes to telling you how to play, it's I guess if you need that direction, that's fine. But we're all fairly practiced at this and don't need to be told how to act.
Yeah, it's almost like there needs to be a third layer to it. There's lawful to chaos, then there's selfish to
Selfless, yeah.
selfless. And then there's something more along the lines of, God, what would it be?
Just take a Myers-Briggs test every time.
Yeah, everybody takes the Myers-Briggs test.
Shift the sliders.
Choose a horoscope. Oh, he's a Scorpio. Okay.
Yeah, it's
He's
whether you're
fucked
based
up and hot.
That's kind of Oblivion.
Eh?
Oh yeah, what star sign you're born under?
I recently saw a chart, and I'm just going off on a tangent, but I recently saw a chart of like people who are really into horoscopes and like beginners to like experts and like their accuracy levels, and it was almost a flat line in terms of experience. So I'm like, yeah, obviously.
Let me have my space racism, okay?
It's tolerance level. That was the other one I was thinking.
Okay.
Like, how far are you willing to bend your morality?
How old are each of the characters? That was one the question that popped in. Karna's 100.
Karna's like 150.
Yeah. Martin's 20.
I think Maud's 22 or 23. Did that sound correct? We talked about it in, like, I don't think we talk about it in my session 0.
We don't.
But
We
talked about it
never
beforehand.
really established that
Yeah.
fundamental. Like, so it's whatever you think it is.
Ambiguously 20s.
Yeah.
I think once again, like in real life, your character is deceptively young compared to the others.
Yeah.
I'm 6.5.
No one's
Because
ever
fun
asked.
fact, out of all of us, Quinn's actually the youngest person here. It doesn't seem like it because Jesse seems like he's 12.
If I could grow this to 12, I'd be.
I'm young, but have
livid.
an old soul.
In the comments, who do you think is the oldest?
Who could it be? Thank you for joining us for Tales Unwritten.
And on that mysterious note,
Shirts should be available by the time this comes out.
And hey, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can catch us tonight with episode 3. If you're on the stream, that's not true.
Just stay tuned. I swear it'll come. It might take 7 days.
But if you're seeing us on YouTube, you can watch us tonight at the next stream and be a part of this Q&A experience.
Be a part of it.
You be here live
in it.
with us, talking at us.
Come to us.
It might even be a preamble
Yeah.
Goodbye.
from our post-ambling.